You might feel less powerful with a compact camera like the Panasonic ZS100, but you're not. It has a 20.1 megapixel 1-inch sensor. It has a zoom macro function. You can photograph birds and your best friend. You have full manual control of the camera. Let's look at examples of photos and video to see what you can do with the ZS100. The 25mm wide-angle lens shoots stunning landscapes. The 4K video at 30p captures misty mornings and many other things. Slow rushing water with a long exposure. Zoom in and out while capturing video. Shoot into the sun if you dare. Every possibility is at your feet. Stop the rushing water with a fast shutter speed. Then switch the camera to the vivid setting for fall foliage. Every path is open to you. The vivid setting also works with the 4K video. Check out these leaves. The details and colors are just stunning in photos and in video. The camera weighs under a pound so that you can walk all day without heavy gear holding you back and keeping you from taking tons and tons of photos and video that will stun and amaze you. There's nowhere to go but up with this camera. You can record video in AVC HD or MP4 formats. The highest quality video is 30p and 100M. This video was recorded in 4K with the 30p and 100M setting. Check out the detail of the falling leaves. You can move the camera with its settings, but you get some shake in it, and you might want to modify that or get a gimbal. The 5-axis stabilization does help you though with this. Check out the detail in this macro zoom photo of a leaf. We'll have more on that later. For now, just enjoy the peace of the falling leaves. Eventually, they'll end up on the ground to start the cycle of the seasons all over again with winter. The macro zoom function can give you some pretty incredible photos. Close-ups of anything you'd like this drop of water, or these holly berries with people in the background. Water is a favorite subject of mine, as you'll see. The rising sun behind these seed pods gives a nice effect. These spice berries seem to go on forever, with a nice blur in the background. The sun has risen a little higher. There's another drop of water. Zoom in to 75 millimeters. Water droplets are everywhere in the early morning, and this camera, with its zoom macro function, can capture them all. Don't limit yourself with the zoom macro function. There are all sorts of other photographs you can take with this camera of the small world. You need a long lens to photograph birds, double the 250mm length of a camera to 500 and see what happens. Use the eye zoom function to get close to the bird. Follow me into the bird blind to see what happens when you do. I'm here at the bird blind today, checking out to see whether my new Panasonic ZS100, really nice little compact camera, can photograph birds. It's listed as a 25 to 250 lens, but it has a 2x teleconverter on it called iZoom, which takes it up to 500. You should be able to shoot birds with a 500mm lens. So far, the birds have been fairly cooperative. The blue jays have been pretty good. There was a white-breasted nuthatch, and there was a mourning dove, and a house finch, a couple of house finches. I got some nice video, I think, of the white-breasted nuthatch. So we'll have to take a look at that, see how that works out. Otherwise, it's been pretty good here, and the camera seems to perform very well. The zoom is a little bit slow. When I look at the pictures, it goes into 25, and I have to zoom out to 500 again, and that takes a little bit of time. Otherwise, it's been pretty good. So I'm going to stay here a little while longer, as long as my kidneys last, and then head home, because it's getting kind of cold and dreary out here. The birds probably feel that too. Here's the photo of that nuthatch I was telling you about, and here's the video. It was taken at 500mm handheld. It's not too bad. The nuthatch hung around for a while, as did the blue jay. Got some nice pictures, as well as this downy woodpecker who was off at a little bit of a distance. There's the blue jay again. Isn't he pretty? These photos were shot with the lens fully extended at 1/250th of a second with an f-stop of f8, which is as wide as or as narrow as the lens can get. I have to admit that some of the photos are a little bit soft, but they're still beautiful. I think just about any lens will soften as it gets longer, but with this lens it is kind of noticeable in some of the photos. So that's, I guess, something you just have to live with if you want to take photos of birds with this smaller lens. I think it's worth it. So who can say, was I crazy to try shooting birds with a tiny little compact camera that can fit in the palm of your hand? It only advertises itself as a 25 to 250 lens. I don't know, we'll have to look at the photographs to find out. You're not done with the ZS100 when the sun goes down. You've got some astrophotography to do. These photos were taken at f2.8 at 5 seconds. Since it was so dark out at night, I really couldn't manipulate the controls too well with this small camera. So I simply decided to leave those settings intact and take as many different photos as I could. I hope you enjoy these photographs, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks again for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment. I'll appreciate it.